Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. The Eight Lords waited quietly. Among the innate primordial life camp's 9 emperors, initial and mother of spacetime, are included because of their undying status, as their attack abilities rank middle to lower among the ancestors. However, the other 7 have extremely terrifying strength. It's time. At this moment, the 8 lords were poised to strike. The entire infinite primordial space, with some beings of the same level, were watching from afar. Boom. Suddenly, the always calm initial ancestor erupted with an extremely dazzling light on the surface, encompassing a vast area with infinite brilliance. At the same moment, 35 ancestors also appeared within the area illuminated by this light. The previously hidden ancestors all revealed themselves as well. A total of 105 ancestors completely gathered. Except for a few newly advanced ancestors, those who refused to follow orders, and severely injured ancestors, the rest have completely assembled. Led by the 9 emperors, a total of 105 ancestors gathered here. Destroy the cultivator lords. Annihilate them. This time, the innate primordial life camp had long prepared a plan, and the moment they gathered, they unleashed their fury without reservation. The highest level of power mastered by the 105 ancestors, after a simple coordination, overwhelmed the 8 lords of the cultivators like a tidal wave. Rumble tilde. The power and domain of the 8 lords, under the array formation deployment, fully resisted. But it only slightly hindered the attack, before the endless terrifying onslaught fell upon Wu Lan and Luo Feng. This might, the expressions of Golden Lord, Lord Mo Man, Lord Ming Huang, and Lord Nai Jiyu all changed. In the face of the absolute power of over 100 ancestors combined, unless one's ability to preserve their life is incredibly strong, they would be utterly destroyed. The main battle avatars of these 4 couldn't resist such power. Yuan and Starlight also could only dodge in the face of such might. But in this collective confrontation, while they both could dodge, the other lords couldn't. Boom. Luo Feng and Wu Lan both felt the endlessly heavy might crushing down on them. Ha ha ha, exhilarating. Wu Lan laughed loudly, even wanting to actively intercept many powers, his massive body formed by primordial material Dao continuously sustaining injuries, but he didn't care about these injuries. Target Luo Feng. The ancestors' side tried to avoid Wu Lan as much as possible, so even if Wu Lan actively wanted to intercept, he could only block about half of the power. The remaining half of the power fell on Luo Feng. The various highest level powers wantonly fell on Luo Feng, corroding, destroying, and wreaking havoc. The pressure is a bit much. The protective energy layer on Luo Feng's surface was penetrated again, and 10 billion 8 million origins frantically replenishing, along with various forces tearing at and destroying Luo Feng's body. Luo Feng's body cracked with many wounds, staining part of his body with blood, with much more severe injuries. But Luo Feng's physical body only accounted for 1 portion of energy, while 10 billion 8 million origins accounted for 10 portions of energy. Even if the physical body was severely injured, Luo Feng, with his terrifying life force, could partially restore from the void. Plus, with the recovery of 10 billion 8 million origins, the physical condition was still within the bearable range. Instead, the protective energy layer consumption was somewhat significant. In the span of a breath, approximately 5% of the energy reserve is consumed. Luo Feng sensed. Previously, facing 73 ancestors, Luo Feng would consume 1% of the energy reserve in the battle array within the span of a breath. Now, it had increased 5-fold. Clearly, as the power continued to rise, the damage to Luo Feng would increase exponentially. If the power reached a certain limit, Luo Feng's main battle avatar, could also be blasted apart. This Luo Feng withstood it. The numerous ancestors, led by the 9 emperors, were secretly surprised. They could sense that Luo Feng's body was significantly less resilient than Wu Lan's body, with much more severe injuries. Yet Luo Feng withstood it, continuously maintaining in the pinnacle state. You should also try our Lord's tricks. A voice rang among the many ancestors. Lord Mo Man burned his main battle avatar, and the vast space-time, where the ancestors resided, suddenly turned into countless musical notes, vibrating. The entire space-time turned into a song, echoing in every ancestor's soul. For the invisible attack, targeting both body and soul. Group tactics, no ancestor could avoid it, they could only endure it. The 10+ ancestors, who were severely injured last time, although somewhat recovered after 10 days of truce with the help of their companions, still had 3 with rather severe injuries, which suddenly worsened in the face of Lord Mo Man's move. Ha ha, this time we shall kill a few more ancestors. Jin's voice also rang. He burned all his power into 13 black spheres, which appeared in the area where the ancestors were, erupting instantly and obliterating the surrounding vast area. Subsequently, brilliant golden lightning also descended, striking one by one, locking onto enemies with no escape. Ignore it. Annihilate them quickly. While Mo Man, Jin, and Ming Huang were launching moves one after another, the 9 emperors remained unfazed, having already understood the Lord's means, naturally having countermeasures. They couldn't stop these Lord's lethal strikes, so they didn't bother defending them. Arranged for the infinite ancestor, in cooperation with Mother of Spacetime, initial coordinated to save some severely injured ancestors, whereas the other 6 of the extremely powerful 9 emperors led the ancestors in a full-force attack. Wu Lan. Along with an earth-shattering roar, Infinite Snake Ancestor roared. Its gigantic figure instantly became blurred, its blurred figure enlarging by 1,000-fold, tens of thousands of times, making it much larger than all the ancestors combined. It bore the name of Infinite. It could indeed become infinitely large, with the largest size even bigger than an entire world cluster, and it could also fuse with the infinite void, becoming completely undying and imperishable. Only in that state, it had no attack power. First, it became huge and covered Wu Lan. Then, it instantly condensed and shrank. An immense serpent's body confined Wu Lan completely at the abdomen. Furthermore, 2 terrifying forces merged into the serpent's body, one being the silent extinction ancestor, transforming into a mass of black light wrapping around half of Wu Lan's body. The other was the Inference Fire ancestor, resembling a flaming star, enveloping the other half of Wu Lan's body. The Infinite Snake ancestor, Inference Fire ancestor, and Silent Extinction ancestor, all well versed in confinement, joined forces, making it difficult for even Wu Lan's formidable body to escape. Previously, the Inference Fire ancestor had devoured Wu Lan, confining her for about a breath of time. Now, with 3 of them working together, Wu Lan could not break free at all. Break. Wu Lan struggled with all her might. Despite their Lord-level combat power, and with their cooperation, Wu Lan couldn't break free regardless of her strength. Extinguish Luo Feng. At this moment, 2 ancestors were severely injured and hid within the initial ancestor's body. As the 3 infinite snake ancestors held Wu Lan in check, exactly 100 ancestors remained. These 100 ancestors acted together, weaving a tapestry of highest-level powers directed at Luo Feng. Although missing 3 of the strongest among the 9 emperors, the infinite snake ancestor, Inference Fire ancestor, and Silent Extinction ancestor as commanders, the overall strength of these 100 ancestors decreased by at least 20%, yet this show of power still frightened Luo Feng. Space-time maze. The Starlight Lord took action. Among the ancestors, the highest void attainment belonged to the Infinite Snake ancestor, who repeatedly clashed secretly with the Starlight Lord. Though disadvantaged, it indeed impacted the Starlight Lord's space-time techniques. Currently, the infinite snake ancestor needed to fully suppress Wulan within. Wulan's resistance was too strong. In this situation, the infinite snake ancestor couldn't fully manipulate the void. As for the mother of spacetime, her void attainment was not up to par with the infinite snake ancestor, and her time attainment was far less than the starlight. Booming. The terrifying power unleashed by the 100 ancestors caused the spacetime maze to be fragmented in the face of absolute might. Yet it still forcibly redirected 3 to 4/10 of the power, with the remaining power then impacting the battle array. After being blocked and weakened by the formation, it finally fell upon Luo Feng, who felt it was only about 10% stronger than before, still within the bearable range. This Starlight Lord. The ancestor side was also troubled. With the infinite snake ancestor fully suppressing Wulan, the Starlight Lord could unleash his spacetime methods freely. Boom. Amid the terrifying power from the ancestor side, an immense, colossal figure took a step to appear near Luo Feng. Its size was immense, several times larger than Wulan. Its entire body was covered with black golden scales, its enormous wings were exceedingly sharp, and a massive circle of colorful light surrounded it, with endless black mist permeating its surroundings. Giant God Emperor. Primordial Beast Ancestor. Black Tide Ancestor. Luo Feng recognized them at a glance. That immense colorful light domain was transformed by one of the 9 emperors, the primordial beast ancestor, whose body constituted the most terrifying domain in the infinite primordial space. Within their domain, even the Starlight Lord couldn't manipulate any void power. If closely observed, one could see that the enormous colorful light domain was actually a fat giant beast with colorful hair. For every part in the domain was its hair, its body. Other strong figures naturally couldn't manipulate any void power. The Starlight Lord could only escape this domain using the timeline. Outside the colorful light domain, the endless black mist was the transformed body of the Black Tide Ancestor. The Black Tide Ancestor turned into an endless black tide disaster. It was also a disaster domain power. Its domain suppression was weaker than the primordial beast ancestor, yet various disasters befell upon enemies within. The Black Tide disaster domain and primordial beast ancestor domain, dual domains enveloped the body, combined with its most terrifying body. In this state, the giant god emperor had no weaknesses. Bang! It carried the massive domains, tearing through the void to appear in front of Luo Feng. Scram! Luo Feng slashed out a fierce blade, the blade light roared past the Black Tide disaster domain, then through the stronger primordial beast ancestor colorful light domain, the blade light was thoroughly submerged, unable to even touch the terrifying body of the giant god emperor. The giant god emperor approached, with massive arms ready to embrace, and huge wings covered forth. Even the colorful light domain and the Black Tide domain engulfed Luo Feng. This domain. The various disaster powers of the Black Tide domain did not bother Luo Feng, as his endless life force could resist. But the bindings of the Black Tide domain and the endless colorful lights shrouding and binding made every movement extremely laborious for Luo Feng. As the giant god emperor's arms and wings enveloped him, Luo Feng couldn't evade, being embraced in an instant. Under the onslaught of 100 ancestors, the battle array of the Lord's side was already under great stress. With the giant god emperor and the others working together, Luo Feng's movement technique was not as proficient as that of the Starlight Lord and others. Crucially, he was resisting the ancestors' encirclement, unable to hide or escape. A mere face-off, and he was entangled by the giant god emperor and the others. Good. Target the 2 with the strongest physical bodies. The ancestors were invigorated. Among the 8 lords, Wulan and Luo Feng were the most capable of withstanding power, playing a significant role in the battle array, especially Luo Feng, who could quickly restore his companions to the pinnacle. To deal with Luo Feng and Wu Lan, previously the strength of the infinite snake ancestors and others was insufficient, and the infinite snake ancestor, silent extinction ancestor, inference fire ancestor together could only ensure confining one. With the giant god emperor and the others together, they could ensure the confinement of another lord. Who? After confining Luo Feng, the giant god emperor and the others immediately retreated as their enormous sizes and broad domain ranges significantly affected the other ancestors' encirclement. Upon this retreat, the giant god emperor and the others withdrew into the group of ancestors. Confine me. With the giant god emperor and others jointly suppressing him, as Luo Feng entered the ancestor group, his eyes turned icy. Explode for me. In an instant, Luo Feng's physical body vanished. His physical body transformed into energy, all of it pouring into the 10,000,000,008,000,000 origins. The 10,000,000,008,000,000 origins was already saturated with energy. As it was forcibly poured, the 10,000,000,008,000,000 origins suddenly contracted. Subsequently, it erupted into an endless dazzling energy storm, instantly shredding all obstructions and bindings. Bang 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 bang. With the help of his two companions, the giant god emperor had originally restrained Luo Feng, but Luo Feng suddenly disappeared, transforming into 1.08 billion origins, and these origins, like a brilliant galaxy, naturally formed a formation. This was one of the three forbidden techniques Luo Feng developed based on his own advantages, the origin great destruction. These three forbidden techniques all require a suitable environment to achieve the best effect. They are called forbidden techniques because the cost of using them is incredibly high. Thus, the 1.08 billion origins formed a formation, triggering a chain reaction, instantly turning into an energy storm capable of destroying everything. This energy storm tore apart space-time, and even the massive abdomen of the giant god emperor nearest to the 1.08 billion origins was instantly torn through, its enormous body directly severed. Oh no! The giant god emperor was both shocked and furious. Avoid it! The dual domains of the primordial beast ancestor and the black tide ancestor were also the first to be impacted by this endless energy. The dual domains they formed were indeed formidable, but even the closest domain was destroyed and annihilated, turned into energy in the face of absolute power, which further fueled the energy storm, making it even more terrifying. A massive energy storm, like a radiant jade disk, erupted from the abdomen of the giant god emperor. It tore through the body of the giant god emperor, pierced through the dual domains, carrying more terrifying energy, and spreading in all directions. Boom. When the power exceeded a certain limit, it triggered a special reaction. The surrounding space-time was instantly annihilated, and the vast area instantly became a dazzling ball of light. The dozens of surrounding ancestors didn't even have time to react, completely submerged in the energy storm. How can this be? The giant god emperor was filled with rage and panic. Part of the dual domains of the primordial beast ancestor and black tide ancestor protected the legs of the giant god emperor, while another part protected its chest and above. Even in the terrifying center of this explosion, with the protection of the ultra-powerful dual domains, the giant god emperor only lost a third of its body. The dual domains protected the rest of its body, allowing it to merge together. Luckily, I had you too. Otherwise, I would have died this time. The giant god emperor was still somewhat frightened. Unlike Luo Feng and Wu Lan, Luo Feng and Wu Lan, as lords, had bodies that they created themselves, naturally pursuing extremities. The bodies of Luo Feng and Wu Lan reached the theoretical limit in energy density. But the giant god emperor was not. It was born of the infinite primordial space, accompanying the transformation of its life core, growing naturally. Though its body was enormous, its explosive power was among the strongest even among the 9 emperors. But its life preservation capability was much weaker in comparison, and its body's energy density wasn't as high as Wulan's or Luo Feng's. Faced with such a powerful force at close proximity, if not for its two companions, it would indeed have been entirely annihilated. That Luo Feng still had such a move, costing me a tenth of my body. The primordial beast ancestor was surprised. Its body was the strongest domain in the entire infinite primordial space. Along with Black Tide ancestor, they excelled in domain skills. Cooperating with the giant god emperor, they complemented each other, and had incredible deterrence power. I also lost nearly a tenth. Black Tide ancestor's domain was at the outermost layer, yet the loss was similar to that of the primordial beast ancestor. The three suffered a significant setback, now becoming more cautious, observing everything around. This terrifying power swept through dozens of surrounding ancestors, whose life-saving abilities were far inferior to the combined trio of the giant god emperor. Even being somewhat further away, and facing slightly less impact, it was still quite tragic. A total of 26 ancestors were heavily injured under the terrifying force. Annihilate. At this moment, 26 incredibly dazzling golden lightnings descended. Lord Minghuang did not hesitate to burn his main combat avatar. The 26 terrifying golden lightnings were unavoidable, already striking the 26 heavily injured ancestors. Ah! No! Help! The 26 ancestors were already gravely injured, and Lord Minghuang's all-out attack terrified them further, the golden lightning unavoidable. Even though their companions attempted to save them, the golden lightning still struck. 5 of the gravely wounded ancestors, unable to protect their life cores, saw their cores crack open under the golden lightning. These 5 ancestors perished on the spot. The other 21 ancestors were all gravely wounded, seized by panic. Collect. Endless light enveloped, rescuing them. However, the dead bodies of the 5 ancestors were quietly moved away by space-time. 5 ancestors have died. The other ancestors present were somewhat in shock, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. In previous times, some among them had also fallen, but that was usually after long battles, with the weaker ones among them dying. But this time was too sudden. Instantly, 26 ancestors suffered heavy injuries, followed by the death of 5. The 5 ancestors who died were among the stronger ones, not the weakest among the ancestors. They purely had bad luck, being too close to the 3 of the giant god emperor. The terrifying explosion dealt too heavy a blow. Unlucky. Too close. Such a reason was unconvincing to the ancestors. They could accept being eliminated in war due to being the weakest, but could not accept falling due to bad luck. This time, it was 5 ancestors with bad luck. Would it be their turn next time? Die. Cultivator lords, go to your deaths. Die, all of you. 5 ancestors perished, 21 severely injured ancestors were taken away by the infinite ancestor. The remaining 70-odd ancestors were filled with rage, and even a hint of fear, as they unleashed their attacks recklessly. At this moment, the Cultivator Lord battle formation, without Wulan and Luo Feng, how could it withstand? The 70-odd ancestors struck with full force, and the 3 of the giant god emperor struck with anger as well. Space-time maze. Starlight Lord attempted to use space-time shift to redirect these powers, but this time, the infinite snake ancestor temporarily relinquished the suppression on Wulan, allowing Inference Fire ancestor and Silent Extinction ancestor to restrain for a short time. Infinite snake ancestor fully controlled the void, preventing the formation of the space-time maze. Boom. Various highest-level powers interwove, enveloping the area. Go. In an instant, Starlight Lord also burned part of the main battle avatar, and forcibly shifted away 3/10 of the power under the influence of the void controlled by Infinite Snake Ancestor. Nai Gu. Yuan's formation also strived to resist, further reducing part of the power. Lord Nijiu transformed into a colossal entity with 9 massive heads. His enormous body actively devoured all power, and though his body surface began to fragment under these powers, it was rapidly restoring. Mastering several ancestor bloodlines as one, Lord Nijiu was skilled in all techniques. Before Luo Feng became a lord, he assisted Wu Lan in resisting external powers. But with the strikes of over 70 ancestors, even after multiple reductions, nearly half of the power still fell. Lord Nigu's body fragmented within a single breath. Phew! Luo Feng's 1,800,000,000 origins, the Great Destruction Storm, was transmitted over a long distance, now very weak. Suddenly involving endless range with faint power, it quickly contracted. Almost in the blink of an eye. Within the cultivator Lord Battle formation, endless power instantly condensed into a silhouette, a figure clad in black with black hair. His figure was massive, standing in front of Lord Nijiu, resisting the assault of those highest-level powers. Nijiu, leave it to me. Luo Feng's voice rang out. Seeing the newly appeared Luo Feng, the fragmented-bodied Nijiu couldn't help smiling. Just one breath, and I almost got blown apart. The 8 lords knew each other's techniques. They all understood Luo Feng's forbidden technique Origin Great Destruction, although it fully unleashed all power. Yet Luo Feng's strength could even recover part from the void. Every unit of Luo Feng's energy contained immense spirituality. After the destructive momentum ended, it all gathered again. Still have 20% of the energy reserve. Luo Feng could sense his state. After the complete destructive burst, 2/10 could still be restored. The physical body appeared intact, yet the newly formed 1,800,000,000 origins were very weak, and in a weakened state, the energy absorption speed greatly diminished. Stronger energy reserve equals faster absorption speed. The weaker oneself is, the slower the absorption. If it were just a weak avatar formed by a mere thought, absorbing for a day would barely restore to 1% energy reserve. I am too weak now, energy recovery speed is only 1/10 of the pinnacle. Luo Feng could ascertain his own recovery speed. However, those ancestors were unaware of Luo Feng's recovery speed. They only saw Luo Feng standing in front of Wu Lan, fully resisting the impact of residual power. Has he recovered again? Wasn't he completely transformed into an endless energy storm? How did he recover? Indeed, the ancestors were in turmoil. Is there any point in continuing this battle? An ancestor's angry voice echoed within their companion's mind. This Lord Luo Feng's strength is completely mysterious. He previously transformed into a destructive storm, and 5 ancestors died. Who knows what other techniques he might have? I can sense Luo Feng's energy reserve, only about 2/10 remain. We can crush these lords. But so what if we crush them? 8 lords, undying and undying. Once they recover the main battle avatars, they will rise again. I don't think there's any need to continue this battle. In this entire infinite primordial space, the fundamental reason for the ceasefire was because a new lord emerged. Even if the ceasefire is won, its significance is limited. Just for a little dignity, is it worth losing several more ancestors? Among these ancestors, there were already quite a few opposing the war. This time, they felt the 9 emperors gathered. Over 100 ancestors joined forces to hold an absolute advantage, which is why many ancestors were willing to participate. But upon realizing bad luck might mean death, the number of anti-war ancestors greatly increased. Not good. Infinite Snake Ancestor, and others sensed the opposition within the ancestors. Even some ancestors originally always following them were now against the war. Honestly, dying 5 ancestors earlier was too unjust. Cultivating to the ancestor level was so hard. Under normal circumstances, they were very difficult to perish. This time, Because of the new Lord Luo Feng's strength, we were unclear and suffered losses. Infinite Snake Ancestor's voice sounded in its companions' minds. Once we understand him completely and have absolute certainty, then we act. For now, let's cease the war. Infinite Snake Ancestor realized the problem. With over 30 ancestors opposing, it couldn't continue. Phew. Along with Infinite Snake Ancestor, Silent Extinction Ancestor, Inference Fire Ancestor relinquishing the suppression, Wulan also regained freedom and immediately returned to the battle formation. Have these ancestors ceased attacking? Yuan, Starlight, Luo Feng, Jin, Wulan, Ming Huang, Nai Jiyu, Mo Man all focused on the opponents. Although Luo Feng's recovery ability weakened significantly, he still prioritized restoring his companions to the pinnacle. This video will end here.